is the Grundig TK23L reel-to-reel tape recorder. This machine I recently picked up. I think it was actually yesterday that I picked this machine up. Saturday, June 6th. When I got it, it did not work. Unfortunately, over the years, between 1965 and 2009, the capacitors, well, they just sort of went dead, gone, deceased, shot. They were actually, I started out by replacing one capacitor, and I fixed it so that I could listen to music. There was one that was obviously blown. The wax sort of stuff that they used to seal the end had actually just came up both ends. It had just sort of like split, and it was most obviously, and I replaced that thinking that was the problem, and I fixed it, and then it would play, and when you tried to record, the little fluorescent lamp, which is right there, you can sort of see it glowing. It's actually a vacuum tube. You can see it glows, like the gaps get closer together, like you'd find like on a glowing eye tube, for example. And it helped with fluctuations. Like when you try to record it in the beginning, it wouldn't do anything at all, and then nothing would show up at all. Like the machine, all the functions would work, but there would be no sound. And I fixed one capacitor, and it brought sound, but it still would not record. It was extremely weak. I replaced another capacitor, which brought recording better, and it would play back so much nicely. And then, unfortunately, because of the fact it was receiving like current like it would have when it was new, it thinks something else might have gone wrong. It doesn't fluctuate anymore. You can see it's fluctuating slightly. So I'm thinking there's a capacitor between the tube and everything else that is blown now. But this Grundig has something kind of interesting about it. Well, for one thing, it uses all vacuum tubes for one thing. That was the most major thing. Makes it weigh a ton. I'll go over the function controls. Rewind, pause. This is the switch from microphone to line in, actually. You have to push it down when you're using microphone. And you notice right away that this is in German. That's actually supposed to, I guess that means tone. And then there's the on or something, I don't know. But to turn it on, you have to do that. You can see the glowing eye tube sort of just goes and dissipates. This is actually the tone control for some reason. I don't know why they put the on and tone in together. I would have assumed this would have been like the tone control, and that would have been the on and volume and record level. But this is actually the volume and record level. You notice me turning it down at the beginning of the video. It's also, it says that, P-E-G-E-L, and then Loudst. I don't know. And there's start, stop, and fast forward. This is a recording button. You push it down and it stays down, and then you push start. And usually you want to have it set for microphone and pause. But it's got automatic level control, which doesn't work. So, well, sort of does, but it sort of doesn't. And then you've got manual level control, and then you've got test level, which when you turn it, you have to turn the knob all the way so the air is pointing, and you push it down. It doesn't stay down. For example, when you turn it the other way, it stays down until you hit stop. Same with the other one. This has the 2-track capabilities where you can record 4 tracks of mono. There's double tracks so you can play like with the tapes. The 3 and 4 tracks, you can have 3 and 4 on both sides of the tape. And then you've got 1 and 2 on both sides of the tape. I guess it records like a 16th of the tape or something. And you've got the tape counter. All the belts are good in this machine. Unfortunately, the Grundig logo is missing off there. And that one was floating around inside the case that I had to grab. It's got the original Grundig reel. And this other tape that's the same size. These are 5.5 inch reels for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. There's the lid. It goes on. You can actually play the machine with the lid on. Unfortunately, the hinges broke off. There's one big speaker right there. You can't see. Then you've got the Grundig label saying Grundig TK23 Deluxe K. It can be run at 110, 130, 220, and 240 volts. It's 55 watts. Notice the bottom actually says it's actually in German, so I cannot read it. And when you tilt it forward, sometimes the capstan rattles around, which is that weird pinging noise. The cord is stored in there, and you can actually adjust for whichever voltage. And then you can see the burn from the heat, from the record player motor kind of thing that's in there. This tape was recorded on this machine probably about 40 years ago, and it doesn't sound half bad. Now, before I go any further, I wanted to point out that it's kind of difficult to move those tapes because you have to carefully move it behind there. And you also find din jacks for that. Ow. That was just the handle tilting. There's microphone, external speaker, and then there's all these other din jacks here. And I can't understand the symbols. This one looks like a top hat turned sideways. It's supposed to be viewed from that angle. And then you've got this weird two little lines that are wavy, and then you've got this Q that's got the line on the opposite side, and then you've got the speaker thing and then the microphone. You can see the damaged hinges where they came off. But I'm going to open this up now so you can see the inside. Now we see the inside, the whole mechanism. You can see the fluorescent vacuum tube. Now there's another tube down there. There's 3 more on that circuit board. They're usually held in metal cans. There's a switch for the track change, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and double. The tape counter with the button. The belt which is running around this. And you can see the motor with the fan. Contact switch. You can see sometimes it sparks like that. You can see the head, erase, the various guides. It was kind of upset. It was kind of annoying when I opened this up and I found like 40 years worth of gunk from the tape. The capstan was like coated, and it can see. You can't really see, I guess. But I tried to get a lot of it off, and I couldn't. I got most of it off, but it's still kind of rough. I guess it grips the tape a little bit better though. The speed is very constant. There's another belt. It's just kind of rubber belt, I guess, with a friction clutch underneath there, because I can still turn this. There's a heavy capstan, which is attached directly to the motor, and this loose floating idler. The record button's right here, and there's a little thing down there that converts the down motion to a sideways motion. I'm going to put this into play mode so you can see what it does. Okay, you can see that starts spinning already. You can see the blue tube is lit up. You can see this. I had to stretch that spring right there so that it wasn't applying too much pressure because it's slowing down the tape. But you can see all these guides moving in. This whole like arm is like swiveled at that point. When you push down on this, it moves that. It engages this spring here. This capstan, see, you can actually tilt it on weird angles and things like that. And it sort of follows the tracking of the tape. There's a pressure pad with this weird sort of foam stuff. It doesn't quite grab on the erase head very well, but it does what it's supposed to. The pause is over here. Just moves that arm in, moving this away from there. Micro just moves the switch way up here. Rewind, which you have to stop to do. Stop disengages everything. Rewind moves that idler wheel over, so it touches the motor, hence the rubber edge around it. Fast forward, hits that roller, which pushes it into that. This roller gets pushed into the motor. When you press record, for example, and then you press pause, and then you start, it moves the brake system, which is a pair of these plastic things which hits the rubber. It's spring-loaded. I guess it does it when you hit start, too. It tilts the whole thing back, so it's not rubbing on that anymore. Okay, testing the Grundig TK23L Luxe real-to-real tape recorder. It's recording better than it did. Tubes. I'm testing this for the YouTube presentation. I'm using the Philips EL3302 microphone, which uses din jacks, which is actually completely compatible with this machine, which is always a plus. So I can do recordings like this. I also have a cord so I can hook it up to, like, say, a stereo system, or hook it up to the microphone jack so I can record music. Unfortunately, this machine needs to have some parts replaced still. When I have the components, I'm going to I'd love to order some brand new components. That actually was a better recording than some of the other ones that this machine has done. It wasn't as muffled as it used to be. But I do plan on replacing all the bad caps in this machine.